Telecommunications tower with a 4-foot lightning rod on a 62.2 acre parcel area located at the large lot single family residential district under Code Town West.
Okay, yes, sir.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Jerry Lusk with the law firm Nixon Peabody, representing both Blue Sky and Verizon this evening. With me are Jackie Bardolata from Tectonic Engineer, who's the real estate consultant responsible for this. Mike Crosby, who you heard from at the last meeting from Verizon, he's the RF engineer responsible for the site. And also with me is a colleague, Steve Fantuzzo. I thank my partner Ashley Champion for being here for me last meeting. I was on vacation, and that was the day that my wife invited her side of the family to our cottages that we rented, and I can't tell you how much I'd much prefer to be at this meeting than hanging out with their side of the family, but cooler heads prevailed and I stayed with my family. So I appreciate her being there. I didn't realize she made a presentation to you, so I'm a new face, and I just wanted to follow through on that. I know at the last meeting there were a number of discussions or a number of items raised by the public since the meeting. I know we responded to those questions at the meeting, and I want to provide you a little further information tonight just regarding some of the issues that were raised. One of the primary issues was the impact on property values. I think that's a debatable point. Again, many in today's, I know when I was looking for our first home with my young kids, our primary and the goal in obtaining a house was the school district, developing the school district. I provided you with a survey, an independent survey that was conducted on behalf of Verizon Wireless. You'll see that although some still believe that wireless telecommunications tower adversely impacts property values, you'll see that on page 3 of the survey, number 4, 90% of the people answered, and this was in that survey, the people that were buying a home within the next 3 years indicated number 4 item on the list was in an area with good cell service. First was in my price range. Second was is the size that I want. And 3, in the neighborhood that I like. And 4 is in an area with good cell service. To my shock, only 64% of them said that it's close to good schools. So it's the number 4 factor in determining whether or not people want to live in a neighborhood, particularly in these times where more and more people are relying on a wireless telecommunication network for work, for home, for play, for monitoring their children, etc. And so I wanted to provide that just to show you again that the data doesn't support the fact that wireless telecommunications towers adversely impact property values, particularly as it relates to the entire town. Second, there were a couple of issues raised by the county planning that stuff we provide some response to. Nothing particularly specific other than they did reference that there is in fact a creek on the property. The tower is approximately 180 feet from the creek, not disturbing anything within 100 feet of the creek. Will have no impact on the creek whatsoever, and obviously during construction we'll do what's necessary to prevent any potential adverse impacts of the project. And again, they noted that there were wetlands on the 60-acre site. We're not anywhere near any wetlands on the site, so our project will have no impact on either the creek or the wetlands, and we just wanted to make sure that you were aware of that. With that, I think I'll turn over to the board to see if they have any additional questions since the last meeting.
The biggest thing I think was the property values. The biggest topic, and other than that, is just the fact that there's a tower going in an area that's, grant you, it is a scenic area of Wicrow in Webster and so on, but there's also need for contact in that area, and there are a lot of people that did contact us, in favor of it also. So there's opposition, but it's a tower. I think I've been here since the very first tower came into this town, and there's always been issues with them initially. But once they're there, they become part of the area and very unobtrusive.
Just to be clear, I've been working with Verizon Wireless for about 15 years. I don't know when we started working on this tower, but it's been 5 or 6, 7 years on this project. We've been searching for a site for that long. This is the only site available to us after all that. We're usually working on it for a year or more. Around that to find it. And it's been such a struggle to find a location. And, thankfully for Verizon's network and those that rely on it, we were able to come to terms with the landlord that's hosting it, again, on that 60-acre parcel 800 feet off the road.
I think if it kind of sat close to the road, it would be more of an issue, but it's back, how far back is it? It's a couple hundred feet or more, isn't it?
I think it's 800 feet.
Is it 800? Is that far back? Basically, at the very back of the property, where it drops off into the wetland area down there, so can't go back any further than that.
Yeah.
Board members, anybody have any questions? Okay, again, this is a public hearing and published in the Webster Herald as a public notice. Now, if there is anyone wishing to speak in regard to this, again, there's a public hearing, you're more than welcome to speak. Anyone? No one? Kidding. There's something more important going on here tonight, I guess. Okay, back up to the board, then we'll close the public hearing portion, bring it back.
Excuse me, Chairman, we did get a write-in comment that I will read into the record.
Sure.
Okay. Dear Mr. Kashani, I am writing to inform you that my wife and I are in favor of the proposed cell tower at 833 Lake Road. Living on Lake Road, it's sometimes hard to get quality cell service from County Line to Bay Road. In this day and age, cell service is no longer a luxury. It's necessary for work at home, entertainment, and most importantly, for emergency services. It is for these reasons we support this project. Thank you. And that's from Paul and Kathy Leone at 1771 Lake Road.
At the last meeting, in the interim there, we did have some other comments too that were sent in favor of it, and phone calls and so forth, so. Okay, let's see. The height of it is 125, town code says it has to be a maximum of 100. That's the town board then determines
The
that?
town board would then be the governing body to issue a variance, and it also requires a special.
Especially, yeah, I got that, okay. All right, anybody, any issues with it?
No issues. It's a very, very necessary thing, in my opinion. Having clients that live in that area and also work in that area at the time, self-service is terrible. And it's really necessary.
Okay, we did get comments from the county. What they're addressing is basically the location of it, so I don't really repeat nothing. All right, Dave?
No.
All right. You gotta do a secret on it, for preliminary. Mark, you got the paperwork there.
I do.
Go ahead.
I have actually 2 sheets, Raj. It says motion for unlisted action, negative declaration, and then the other one says notice of determination for non-significance. Which one are you?
Put in afterward,
The 17,
read in the grass.
the Gettysburg Address. Okay.
Yeah, we'll be here for a while.
Okay. I will, in a second. This is strawberry. Okay, motion for an unlisted action, negative declaration. The Town of Webster Planning Board considered the request by Blue Sky Towers 3 LLC, Bell Atlantic Mobile Systems LLC, DBA Verizon Wireless, to construct a 125-foot tall telecommunications tower with a 4-foot lightning rod located at 833 Lake Road on a 62.2-acre parcel. The planning board determines that the proposed action is an unlisted action based on the following. Number 1, action includes a 129-foot radio tower, which exceeds the threshold for a Type 2 action as defined by Section 617, 5, sub C, sub 7, of for non-residential structures involving less than 4,000 square feet, not involving a use variance. The planning board determined that the action is subject to a single agency review pursuant to part 617.6 sub B sub 4 of seeker, and that it is the most appropriate agency for making the determination of significance. The planning board therefore designates itself lead agency for the proposed action. The planning board has given consideration to the criteria for determining significance as set forth in section 617.7 sub C sub 1 of seeker, and has, number 1, considered the information contained in the short environmental assessment form part 1, and number 2, considered public comments directed to the planning board during the public hearing on July the 20th of 2021. Now therefore, be it resolved, the Town of Webster Planning Board hereby determines that the proposed action will not have a significant adverse effect on the environment for the reasons set forth in the attached notice of determination of non-significance. Be it further resolved that the Town of Webster Planning Board is authorized to take all actions reasonable and necessary to file the negative declaration and discharge the Town of Webster Planning Board's responsibility as the lead agency for this action. Be it further resolved that the Town of Webster Planning Board, based on the information and analysis above, the reference supporting documentation and discussions of the action by the Town of Webster Planning Board, as documented by minutes before this meeting, that the proposed action will not result in any significant environmental impacts. Be it further resolved that the Town of Webster Planning Board therefore makes a determination of non-significance, and be it further resolved that the Town of Webster Planning Board, based on the above reasons, issues a negative declaration as evidence of its determination. The Planning Board has reasonably concluded the following results for the proposed action when compared against the criteria in section 617.7 sub C. Number 1, the proposed action will not have a substantial adverse change in air quality since it does not include a regulated emission source. Number 2, the proposed action will not have a substantial adverse change in ground or surface water quality or quantity, since the proposed action includes improvements to existing drainage swales. Number 3, the action does not require water. Number 4, the proposed action does not require or include sanitary facilities. Number 5, the proposed action will not have a substantial adverse change in potential for erosion, flooding, leaching, or drainage problems. Construction practices will conform to accepted stormwater management and controls. Number 6, the proposed action will not have a substantial adverse change in existing solid waste production, since the proposed action is a radio tower that does not produce solid waste. Number 7, the proposed action will not have a substantial adverse change in existing noise, odor, or light, since the tower does not create sound or including lighting, or that required by the FAA. A temporary increase in noise level consistent with normal construction activities is anticipated during construction. Number 8, the proposed action will not have a substantial adverse change or cumulative change in traffic, since a communication tower does not create traffic beyond routine maintenance trips. Number 9, the proposed action will not have a substantial adverse impact on the criteria listed under section 617.7 sub C sub 1 Roman numeral 2 of seeker, because no habitats or threatened or endangered species were identified on or contiguous to the proposed site. Number 10, the proposed action is not located in an area designated as a critical environmental area by the Town of Webster or New York State pursuant to subdivision 617.14 subsection G of seeker. The proposed action, this is number 11, proposed action is not in material conflict with the town of Webster 2008 comprehensive plan. Number 12, the proposed action will not create an impairment of the criteria listed under section 617, subsection 6, and C, subsection 1, subsection V of seeker, since the action is not located in or adjacent to the listed resources and is in character with the surrounding community. Number 13, the action will not result in a major change in the type or use of energy, since the action does not require an upgrade to the electrical distribution system. Number 14, the action will not create a hazard to human health, since it does not contain, nor it is located adjacent to existing sources of hazardous substances or contaminants. The project does not contemplate the use of hazardous substances or contaminants. Number 15, the action will not create substantial change in the use of land, since it is located on developed community property. Number 16, the action will not attract a large number of people for more than a few days when compared to taking no action, since the action does not create areas that will attract a large number of people. And number 17, the action will not create a cumulative impact on the environment as listed under 617.7, subsection C, subsection 1, subsection X, subsection XI, XII of seeker.
That's the resolution?
That's the, yes.
That's the end of it?
That's the seeker, yeah.
A second,
Got a second?
second.
Mr. Giardina.
Aye.
Mr. Mixel.
Aye.
Mr. Kosel.
Aye.
Mr. Malka.
Aye.
Mr. Arena.
Aye.
Mr. Kashani.
Okay. The roadway going in, it's not paved or anything, is it?
It's gravel.
Gravel road, gravel drive going
There's an
in?
existing driveway that will be extended.
Yeah, it's extended, it extends down to the barn, and then continue back,
Correct.
right? That's gravel, and then back in.
Correct.
Okay. All right, everybody's okay with this then?
Yep.
All right, I'll make a motion for a preliminary approval for the 833 Lake Road telecommunication tower. And we'll make that subject to, I don't know if it has to have a letter of credit, does it? No, right? Right? Okay, we'll leave that out. All right, we'll make that subject to all the improvements to be constructed according to specifications of the town of Webster. And all site work is to be in compliance with the standards of the town of Webster and comply with all requirements of any state, county, or town agency, which has been completed. The approvals will be subject to the drawing number, this is actually a plan. It's job number 6431, I believe, right? Your drawing, 6431, the job number, which is that.
Yes, job 6431.
Okay, good. Okay. And, now, do we need anything else? Anybody else? Anything? I guess that's preliminary approval.
I'll second.
Okay, the motion is,
Mr. Kashani.
Aye.
Mr. Giardina.
Aye.
Mr. Mixel.
Aye.
Mr. Kosel. Mr. Malka.
Aye.
Mr. Arena.
Aye.
okay, so we can move forward with the final one. This is, all right, for final approval, I'll make a motion and make that subject to project review committee comments. Let's see, subject to preliminary approval conditions, subject to all applicable governmental fees, subject to the Department of Public Works approvals. Significant construction shall occur within 1 year, as deemed by the planning board, to expire on August 13th or August 17th, 2022. And the conditions of the preliminary and final approval should be depicted on your final drawings that you already submitted to the town on this. Okay, let's see. We'll make that subject to the resolution and final approved minutes. And approval is subject to the same drawing numbers.
Second.
And that's a motion, and a second, Dave?
Mr. Kashani?
Aye.
Mr. Malta?
Aye.
Mr. Arena?
Aye.
Mr. Kosel?
Aye.
Mr. Mixel?
Aye.
Mr. Giardina?
We have to send a letter to the town board too, so I'll make a recommendation that we send a favorable recommendation for the 833 Lake Road telecommunication tower to the town board, that this board has been in favor of this project.
Second.
Motion and a second.
Mr. Kashani?
Aye.
Mr. Giardina?
Aye.
Mr. Mixel?
Aye.
Mr. Kosel?
Aye.
Mr. Malta?
Aye.
Mr. Arena?
Aye.
Okay, we're all set, I guess.
Somebody will provide
I'm sorry?
somebody will provide us with the final conditions of approval of just,
Yeah, you get it. Once they're approved, you'll get a copy.
okay, thank you very much, appreciate it. Have a good night.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck with the project.